As a young adult, I experienced a harrowing ordeal when I was involuntarily confined in a government-managed psychiatric facility. The conditions there were appalling. On weekends, the oversight was minimal, and the facility was primarily managed by staff who struggled with their own substance dependencies. These workers exploited the vulnerability of the patients in a chilling manner. For a mere $40, they would allow outsiders, often with malevolent intentions, to enter the facility. These individuals were given unsupervised access to the patients, whom they treated horrendously throughout the night. This unchecked abuse led to countless unimaginable acts of cruelty that the patients had to endure helplessly. Can you guess the grim setting they used for their horrendous acts? They chose the shower stalls, where the constant flow of water and multiple drains made cleanup straightforward. I, too, suffered greatly in that dreadful place. On several occasions, I was forcibly injected with a strong sedative called Haldol. They would then restrain me, face down, by securing my hands and feet to a cold metal bed frame, leaving me immobilized for more than 24 hours in a chillingly cold room. Being restrained in such a manner, one of my gravest fears was the possibility of choking on my own saliva, excessively produced due to the effects of the Haldol. As I lay there, fixed in a spread eagle position and unable to move, the chilling echoes of screams filled the air, coming from tormented individuals in the nearby shower room, where the fixtures were all too conveniently used for chaining people. During one particularly harrowing night, I was forced to listen to the distressing sounds of a man in the room next to mine. He was restrained in the same manner as I was, and amidst his screams and cries, he managed to chew through his mattress, which was encased in thick, clear plastic like mine. This typically happened on weekend nights when I was similarly restrained to prevent any interference with the night staff's illicit activities. They earned extra money by allowing outsiders access to vulnerable patients for their cruel pleasures. If you've ever wondered about resisting under the influence of powerful sedatives like Haldol or Thorazine, injected directly into your thigh, the truth is stark. Fighting back is futile. The drugs render you helpless. When these events unfolded, I was only 19 years old. I spent 6 weeks in the asylum, the maximum duration that the law allowed for holding someone involuntarily. The conditions at this particular facility were so dire that the state closed it down just 2 months after my release. If you're familiar with state-run mental institutions, you can imagine the severity of the issues for it to warrant such action. At the time of my detention, I was leading a normal life. I had a stable job, my own apartment, and a circle of friends. I was engaged in hobbies like guitar playing, photography, and writing. Clearly, I had a full and active life. I wasn't insane. I was apprehended by the police one night while walking through a park after finishing a shift at the local factory where I worked. The operators of the mental hospital had a financial incentive to keep all beds occupied. They received $800 per day from medical insurance for each filled bed. Whenever a bed became vacant, they would inform the police to find someone to fill it. The police would detain just about anyone they came across, and those individuals could be held for up to 6 weeks, especially if no one claimed them. Unfortunately, I found myself in this situation one night. With my family long dispersed and indifferent, I had no one to intervene on my behalf. As a result, I was detained for the entire 6 weeks. My release only came about because after that period, patients picked up off the streets are entitled to petition for a hearing before a judge. Story 2. I was granted a court hearing just 1 hour before it was scheduled to occur, an opportunity I eagerly anticipated. However, I was abruptly discharged from the hospital right before this. The doctors were reluctant to let me speak to a judge because during my 10-day stay in the psych ward, admitted after an attempted suicide, I had undergone the most frightening experience of my life. At only 17 years old and already in a vulnerable mental state, the ordeal was particularly traumatic for me. On my first day at the hospital, I was paired with a roommate named John. Initially, he was quite friendly, showing me around and offering help as I settled in. However, I soon noticed something unsettling about him. He would often stare blankly into the distance, mouth agape, drooling. Concerned, I asked if he was all right. By the second night, he revealed to me that he was a Satan worshiper and claimed he could communicate with the devil. His assertion that he was constantly hearing whispers from the devil and other demons truly unnerved me. Consequently, I began to distance myself from him. While he spent most evenings secluded in our room, which conveniently had its own bathroom, I chose to play basketball with other patients as a way to unwind. After returning to my room one evening, I was shocked to find that John wasn't in bed and the room was in complete disarray. The beds had been flipped onto their sides, and a large pentagram was carved into the back of the headboard. Concerned, I knocked on the bathroom door where I could hear John making strange noises and seemingly conversing with someone. I waited for 20 minutes, hoping he would come out, but there was no sign of him. During that time, the odd noises intensified, accompanied by bursts of laughter and ongoing conversations with an unseen presence. I finally decided to check the bathroom, which didn't have interior locks to prevent patients from isolating themselves. Upon opening the door, I was confronted with a horrific scene. John was on the floor, naked and bloodied, with his eyes wide open staring straight at me. He had shattered the mirror and used the shards to cut deep gashes into his arms and legs, and blood was smeared all over. Fearing for his life, I rushed in to assist him. That was a grave error. As I approached, he lunged at me, stabbing me with a mirror shard. My scream alerted the nurses, who quickly intervened and subdued him. Amidst this chaos, he was laughing uncontrollably. Both of us were taken for medical care. He to address his self-inflicted wounds, and I received stitches for the stab wound. Subsequently, I was moved to a new room with a different roommate. Strangely enough, John returned to the facility 7 days later, placed in a different ward. He approached me during dinner, having no memory of the incident at all. It was undoubtedly the most terrifying week of my life. Thank you for joining us on this haunting exploration of Asylum stories. Each tale sheds light on the darker corners of human experiences in places meant for healing but turned into sites of horror. What are your thoughts on these stories? Have you ever encountered anything similar, or do you have any ghost stories of your own to share? Your insights enrich our community, and we love hearing from you. Comment below with your experiences or thoughts, and if you found these stories as captivating as we did, don't forget to subscribe for more. Stay curious and keep exploring the mysteries that surround us.